friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here to talk about 5 foods you may not have considered for putting up for hard times. This can be something you preserve yourself or things you simply stock up on. Now keep in mind, some of these you probably already have, but you may not have considered all the reasons why it would be a good idea to put some of these things up. So starting off with the dried citrus peels. Now I have jars and jars of dried citrus peels. I really need to go through and powder a bunch up so they're taking up less room in storage. Now my favorite ones to store are going to be any kind of peel that comes off of your smaller oranges like your satsumas, your tangerines, and so on, that have the very thin type peel on it with not so much pith, because they're going to have a better flavor. They're easier to powder when needed, and you don't have to bother trying to remove all the pith from it, which can cause a very bitter flavor. Now, why do I say store up on these? Well, first of all, before I continue, it is good to make sure that if you're going to do this, that the fruit you're collecting the peels from are organically grown, raised, no pesticides, free from all of that kind of stuff. While there are many uses for your citrus peels, such as adding to your homemade soaps and whatnot, I'm focusing more on things you're going to take internally, whether it be a food or a medicine. So one thing about citrus peels of any variety, be it grapefruit, lime, lemon, oranges of any variety, they're all going to be high in quercetin. However, to get the quercetin out of the peels, they need to be brewed into a decoction that's going to yield more quercetin. Or if you eat them in a raw form, you're going to get more vitamin C. It just depends on what you're looking for. I like to use my citrus peels quite a bit added to my teas. You're still also going to get some vitamin C out of that. You're just not going to get as much as you would if you were eating them raw. And they can be added to tinctures, like this is one that I will throw into my elderberry tincture along with some other spices. So I'm getting all the great benefits, and since I'm using them in a raw form, they're dried, but they're still fairly raw. That means most of the vitamin C is still preserved. And then being made into a tincture, I'm still going to be getting a lot more vitamin C out of that than I would if I was brewing it into a tea or decoction. But again, in a tea or decoction, I'm getting more quercetin out of the peels in that way. But then as just far as foods, the peels are really good to use for flavorings. Now, I don't recommend using grapefruit or lime for this. Lemon, you want to make sure you remove a lot of the pith if you're going to do that. But you can still powder some of these things up and add them to different things like icing, cookies, breads, even cinnamon rolls. My favorite way to make cinnamon rolls, in fact, is to powder up my citrus peels and then sprinkle them both into the sugar butter mixture that goes in the middle of the cinnamon roll, and then also into the icing that I drizzle over the top. And pancakes, I've added them to pancakes as well. So many things you can do with citrus peels that you might not be thinking of, because you might just be eating your citrus and throwing the peels away, or even composting them, which is fine too. So yes, consider saving up your citrus peels, especially the ones from your thinner peeled orange type fruits. Now, the next on my list is, I don't have anything out here to show you, but if you have people with special dietary issues within your family or close-knit friends, maybe they're not living with you, so this is probably something you're not considering, but I do recommend making sure you at least have a little bit of some things on hand that would work for preparing foods for people who have special dietary restrictions. So maybe they're gluten-free. As such, I do keep some gluten-free products on hand. Even though at this point, we're rarely ever around people that need gluten-free. We have had friends in the past that were gluten-free, or at least a good part of the family was. And so whenever we got together and I was making some, maybe cookies or some kind of pie, I developed my own gluten-free recipes and had stocked up on a lot of gluten-free flours and even pastas that I can use when I'm, whether it be I'm making a main dish or I'm making a dessert. And then there's also the dairy-free people. So, yeah, and these are just a couple of examples. So I have a lot of nuts stored up that I can use to make dairy-free milk products. So obviously they're not dairy milks, they're dairy-free milks because they're coming from a plant-based material. So I can make all kinds. One of my personal favorites, even though I'm not dairy-free, sometimes I do enjoy a good homemade nut milk such as Brazil and hazelnut or cashew and pecan, that kind of thing. And then I can use the pulp for adding to either gluten-free or non-gluten-free breads and more, and cookies and so on. So I stock up on a lot of nuts, not just for my own sake, but for those who may need to have something that's dairy-free that I may be wanting to help out a little bit. So, or just go hang out with them. It doesn't have to be something that's a grid down situation. It could be, hey, I'm going to this potluck and I'm pretty sure there's going to be somebody there that can't have gluten or can't have dairy or can't have meat or can't have this or that or eggs. So maybe consider just having a few things on hand. I'm not saying you have to stock up on a whole bunch, but just some things on hand so you could be ready for such a situation. Then another thing, this is just like my last category. It's something that's not a specific thing, but something that's going to be specific to you, or things that'll be specific to you. So it's going to be a group. And this would be some fun favorites, such as right here, I have, these are actually vacuum sealed. I just have this lid on here for the sake of the thumbnail. And these are chocolate chips I put up in 2020 that I vacuum sealed. These are organic chocolate chips. But right here, and again, I put it in this jar just for the sake of the thumbnail because it's pretty. And anyway, I have some organic yogurt covered raisins, and a nice treat for grandbabies, for yourself, for whoever may be showing up. So here's what the bag looks like. It was from my most recent Azure Standard order, and I decided I wanted to try them, and they are really good. A little on the sweet side. So for me, I find them best if I mix them with something like peanuts, something that's salted to really break up the sweetness, and they are pretty darn good. Chocolate chips or other types of baking chips are good, not just for us, I'm not thinking of more as a snack on their own, but more as something you can add to, maybe a trail mix, or to add to your cookies, pancakes, and so on. And then a few other ideas or things. These are some of my favorite things are, artichoke hearts. Those are really good. I get these from Misfits Market. And something else I get from Misfits Market are the organic water chestnuts. So these are things I wouldn't see as a necessary, but they are nice to have on hand as either a side to go with something, or like the water chestnuts, I love to add those to any kind of stir fry that I'm making. And I would be glad to just snack on water chestnuts because I love them. But again, some of these things I'm bringing up they're just the fun favorites. These are the kind of things that can help bring joy to a boring pantry. And a couple other things would be the means to make your own homemade chocolates, which I have a whole playlist on my own personal recipes of chocolate making, including chocolate syrup, but mostly chocolate, like peanut butter chocolate and peppermint patties and so on. So right here, I have some organic cacao powder, and here I have some organic cacao butter. These are the two main ingredients when you're making chocolate. If you're just doing a white chocolate, then you would use the cacao butter with some kind of powdered milk. And that can be like a powdered coconut milk or something like that if you're dairy free, and it will work. I've done that. I've actually made, I think it was the peppermint patty bark I made using the coconut milk powdered and the cacao butter. And then whatever kind of sweetener that you want to use, whether it be a cane sugar or when I first started making the chocolates, I made it very simple. I had 3 ingredients, and my oldest video will show this. I had the cacao butter, cacao powder, and raisins, and that's it. So anyway, I'll be linking to that full chocolate making playlist in the description box down below if you'd like to learn more. But anyway, those are just a few ideas of some fun favorites that you might want to have on hand again, to add joy to your pantry. Now the next thing, and I didn't bring anything in here, it's a video I still have yet to shoot because I'm still doing more experimentation, but dehydrating up meals. And then either A, storing them in your jars and vacuum sealing them, because they'll take up less storage in your pantry that way and save your freezer space also. So let's say you're making a big batch of lasagna and then you want to divide that up for different meals throughout the month, throughout the year, or if it's something you want to have it as a grab and go that you can take if you're in either a bug out situation or you want to keep in your go bag, in your rigs in case you're stuck somewhere, you just need some meals, or you simply want to take camping or hiking. This is especially for those who don't have a freeze dryer. There is a lot, believe it or not, you can do with dehydrating. And one of my favorite ones I've tried so far was dehydrating my homemade lasagna, and it was great. I was able to rehydrate it beautifully, and it tasted just as good as it did in its fresh form. So I'm probably going to be doing more of that, but I'm still doing more sampling. In fact, right now I have set aside a little batch of another pasta dish I made. It was like a kind of more like a beef stroganoff kind of thing. What I do is I do freeze those, especially if they have meat in them. I'll take that out and freeze it first. If it has meat that wasn't previously dehydrated or something like that, that way it'll break the meat down in such a way that when you go to dehydrate it, it'll make it crispy and easier to rehydrate. So then I take it out of the freezer when I'm ready and I have more things to dehydrate, and then just go ahead and dehydrate that stuff. But I will have a video coming out later. I had thought I'd shot it already, but I haven't yet. I don't know why I was thinking that. But anyway, just kind of start experimenting with some meals, and when I finally feel like I have enough things that I can give you a good idea of more options, I'll be putting that video together. But I've done fried rice, I've done the lasagna, I've done spaghetti sauce, I've done salsa. I've also done chili and my own Tar Heel beans, and I have videos on that. These are things that rehydrate up beautifully. And soup, that's the other thing I've done, is homemade soup, and then dehydrated that. And so far, those have all rehydrated really quite well. So I've been pretty pleased with that. I would just like to do a few more experiments. But when you go to experiment, just make sure you start with a small amount at a time of whatever meal it is. These kind of dehydrated meals are going to be best if they're things that are pasta or rice dishes or soups. So just a few things to consider, but you can try anything. I just again recommend if it's anything that has meat in it, meat's going to dehydrate best if it's first been cooked, then frozen after it's cooked, then dehydrated. So when you're talking about dehydrating, that's going to help your meat to turn out better and easier to rehydrate rather than staying chewy like jerky. And then the last thing I have on my list, and this is one of those things that seems like kind of a duh thing, but the reason I brought this up is something you may not have thought of. Well, first of all, it's something I always tend to forget to bring up, even though we stock up on a lot of popcorn. Now, some people might think, well, shouldn't popcorn go in the fun foods? Well, it can go in the fun foods category, but here's the reason why I set it aside separately, because this is something people may not think about, is that popcorn is going to store longer and better than your regular dent corn for long-term storage, and it has more uses than just popcorn because you can grind this up too into a flour or a meal and use it the same exact way you would use other kinds of cornmeal and corn flours. And so that's why I highly recommend putting up a lot of popcorn. So I only have 2 different types of corn that I put up in its whole form, one being popcorn. Some of it is the yellow popcorn organic that I get from Azure Standard, and the rest is whatever I can get from my garden, from my glass gem popcorn. Now that one I have found does not pop up as well as this one, so that gets reserved for a meal that I use for making like tamale pie or anything where I want a cornbread type dish. But yes, just remember that, because it is going to have a much longer shelf life and last for much longer. I mean, regular dry corn will last for many years, but I just think you're going to get a lot better quality over the long run with your popcorn. And again, it has more uses than just using as a snack popcorn. So anyway, that's my list for today. I may do another one of these because there's a lot of things that go beyond just storing up rice and beans, which I did forget to say at the beginning, that these are the things you are going to want to consider once you have your very basics put up. You know, your grains, your flours, your beans, your rice, all the basics that you know you're going to need to survive. Then you can move on to other things that will just expand the variety of things that you have in your food storage. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please share your thoughts and ideas in comments down below. That might even be something I can add to a future video, because maybe it's something I haven't thought of. And thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.